In a distant land where ancient traditions collided with the pulse of modern life, there existed a realm of mystery and peril that only the bravest dared to traverse. It was here, amid winding roads that meandered through rugged hills and valleys, that our story unfolds. A tale of danger, courage, and unexpected compassion that would forever alter the lives of those involved. I invite you now to step into a world where every twist of fate and every shadow cast by the moon hold a secret, and where the human spirit rises above even the darkest of circumstances. Our story centers on Michael, a lone traveler with eyes full of wonder and a heart brimming with dreams. He had journeyed far from his homeland in search of adventure, immersing himself in the beauty of diverse cultures and landscapes. Michael was not one to shy away from the unknown. His passion for exploration was matched only by his willingness to embrace the risks that often accompanied the pursuit of freedom and discovery. He wandered through bustling markets, ancient ruins, and quiet hamlets, savoring every moment with the unbridled enthusiasm of someone who believed that life was a series of breathtaking experiences waiting to be lived. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Michael found himself in a small, remote town nestled on the edge of a vast wilderness. The town was a tapestry of contrasts, a blend of modern convenience and time-worn traditions, where the whispers of history mingled with a murmur of daily life. Michael, enchanted by the town's rustic charm and the warmth of its people, decided to spend a night in a modest guest house, oblivious to the undercurrents of danger that lurked beneath the surface of its serene facade. The guest house was a modest structure built from weathered stone and timber, exuding an air of quiet dignity and solitude. Its corridors were dimly lit, and every creak of the wooden floor seemed to echo the passing of time and secrets long buried. Michael, eager to rest before the next day's adventures, retired to his small room with a sense of calm determination. However, as the night deepened and the world outside succumbed to a hushed stillness, a dark force began to stir in the shadows. Unbeknownst to Michael, a clandestine group of individuals had been observing him since his arrival. Their intentions were not born out of mere malice, but rather from an insidious agenda that had roots in both local politics and age-old vendettas. This group, hidden behind the guise of respected community members, harbored a secret that they believed could only be safeguarded by eliminating any outsider who might stumble upon their hidden truths. In their eyes, Michael was not just a traveler. He was an unwitting intruder whose presence threatened to unravel the delicate balance they had meticulously constructed over years of subterfuge. On that fateful night, as Michael lay dreaming of distant lands and future escapades, the peace of his slumber was violently shattered. Rough hands grabbed him from behind, and before he could cry out, a coarse cloth was pressed against his mouth. The world spun in a chaotic swirl of darkness and confusion as he was dragged from his room and into the unknown. The guests at the inn remained oblivious, their quiet murmurs of sleep drowned out by the sinister determination of his captors. The darkness was complete, and Michael's world was reduced to a nightmare from which he could not awaken. Bound and blindfolded, Michael was transported through narrow, winding streets and into the depths of the wilderness. The journey was a disorienting blur of harsh voices and the thud of boots on uneven ground. Every step he took was steeped in uncertainty and terror, as the oppressive silence of a night was broken only by the occasional, chilling remark from his captors. Michael's mind raced, grappling with the stark realization that his adventure had taken a turn into the realm of terror. Yet, even in the depths of his despair, a stubborn spark of hope glimmered within him, a hope that somehow, somewhere, he might yet escape the clutches of his assailants. As the night wore on and the moon cast an eerie glow upon the path ahead, Michael's captors finally halted at a dilapidated structure hidden deep within a forest. The building, a crumbling relic of a bygone era, exuded an aura of abandonment and decay. It was here that they planned to hold Michael, a silent prisoner in a place where no one would dare venture. The air was thick with the scent of moss and decay, and every rustling leaf whispered secrets of lives lost and dreams shattered. Michael's heart pounded in his chest as he was unceremoniously thrown into a dim, musty room. His captors' voices receded into the distance, leaving him alone with the chilling reality of his predicament. In the oppressive darkness of his confinement, Michael's thoughts turned to the fragments of his journey, the faces he had encountered, the stories he had heard, and the subtle glimmers of kindness that had warmed his heart. He recalled the vibrant markets filled with laughter and the gentle smiles of strangers who had welcomed him with open arms. It was this recollection of humanity, this belief in the inherent goodness of people, that kept him clinging to hope. Even as the cold, damp walls of his prison pressed in around him, Michael resolved to find a way out, to reclaim his freedom and continue the pursuit of the life he had always envisioned. The following morning dawned with a muted light that barely penetrated the thick canopy of the forest. Michael's eyes fluttered open to the sound of birds chirping in the distance, a stark reminder that life continued unabated, even in the face of unspeakable adversity. Determined to assess his surroundings, he cautiously removed the tattered blindfold that had kept him in perpetual darkness. What he saw was a bleak, unfamiliar room, its narrow window revealing only a sliver of a gray sky. The room's sparse furnishings, a rickety cot and a small wooden table, spoke of neglect and abandonment. The reality of his situation settled in like a heavy shroud, but it also ignited a fierce determination within him to survive. Days passed in a haze of uncertainty and whispered threats from the unseen wardens of his captivity. Michael's captors were not a monolithic force. They were a disjointed group with their own internal hierarchies and grudges, their loyalties shifting like the sands in an hourglass. In the midst of this chaos, one person emerged as a glimmer of hope, a local girl named Lena. Lena was not like the others. Her eyes held a quiet defiance, and her demeanor was marked by a compassion that seemed out of place in such a ruthless environment. Unlike the others who had resigned themselves to the oppressive order of their community, Lena's heart beat to the rhythm of a freer, more rebellious spirit. Lena had grown up in the very forest that now served as the backdrop for Michael's imprisonment. She was intimately familiar with its hidden trails, secret clearings, and the unspoken language of the wind that whispered through the trees. Her life had been one of quiet rebellion, a defiance against the strictures imposed by a society steeped in superstition and fear. And when she first learned of Michael's plight, something stirred within her, a sense of kinship with the outsider whose fate was intertwined with her own desire for freedom. In her eyes, Michael was not just a victim. He was a symbol of everything that was wrong with a world that allowed injustice to fester in its dark corners. Late one moonless night, as the silence of the forest enveloped the abandoned structure, Lena made her move. Slipping silently into Michael's cell, she carried with her the stealth and grace of one who had spent her entire life navigating the hidden pathways of the wilderness. Her eyes, though weary from the weight of unspoken sorrows, shone with a fierce determination. "Michael," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the distant call of an owl. "I'm here to help you. I can't stand by and watch another life be destroyed by this cruelty." Michael, startled by her sudden appearance, stared at her in disbelief. "Who are you?" he asked in a hushed tone, his voice trembling with a mix of hope and apprehension. "My name is Lena," she replied, her eyes locking onto his with an intensity that belied her tender age. "I've been watching over this place for as long as I can remember. I know its secrets, and I know how to escape it." Her words, spoken with a calm certainty, cut through the fog of despair that had long enveloped him. In that moment, Michael felt a renewed surge of hope, a spark that ignited his will to survive and fight back against the darkness that sought to keep him captive. Over the following hours, under the cloak of night, Lena meticulously orchestrated Michael's escape. She revealed hidden passages within the building, secret corridors that led to forgotten stairwells and narrow windows that opened onto the dense forest. Each step of the journey was fraught with danger, Every rustle in the undergrowth and every creak of the ancient floorboards sent a jolt of fear through their hearts. Yet, in the face of overwhelming adversity, their determination to break free and reclaim their destinies burned brighter than the faintest glimmer of hope. As they crept through the labyrinthine corridors, the oppressive silence was intermittently pierced by distant voices, the patrols of Michael's captors, whose vigilance was as unpredictable as the shifting winds. Lena's eyes, accustomed to reading the subtle signals of nature, guided them with an almost supernatural intuition. She paused at every turn, listening intently for any sign of movement, her slender frame tense with the anticipation of impending danger. Michael, though still weakened from his ordeal, drew strength from her unwavering resolve. Each step forward was a defiant act against the fate that had been imposed upon him, a silent declaration that he would not be broken, that his spirit would rise above the shadows of captivity. Their escape was not without its harrowing moments. At one point, as they navigated a narrow, crumbling corridor lit only by the faint light of a dying lantern, the sound of approaching footsteps sent their hearts into a frenzied race. The corridor, lined with peeling paint and memories of a bygone era, became a battleground of adrenaline and fear. Lena's hand shot out to grab Michael's arm, pulling him into the relative safety of a hidden alcove. For what felt like an eternity, they huddled in silence, the rhythmic thumping of their hearts echoing like a drum in the stillness. The footsteps passed by, a reminder of the constant threat that loomed just beyond the fragile barrier of their sanctuary. When the danger had subsided, they continued on, their steps now lighter, fueled by the fierce knowledge that their lives were inextricably linked in this desperate bid for freedom. Outside, the forest welcomed them with a tapestry of rustling leaves, whispering winds, and the subtle glow of distant stars. The journey through the wilderness was a trial by nature, a test of endurance, courage, and an unyielding will to survive. The forest itself seemed to conspire with them, its tangled paths and hidden clearings providing both shelter and peril in equal measure. Every rustle of leaves, every distant animal call, carried with it the dual promise of sanctuary and danger. Yet, as Michael and Lena pressed on, the darkness of the night gave way to the first blush of dawn, and the horizon revealed the promise of a new beginning. Throughout their escape, Lena shared with Michael the lore of her homeland, the ancient legends, the tales of bravery and betrayal that had been passed down through generations. Her voice, soft yet resonant, wove a tapestry of stories that spoke of a time when the land was ruled by forces of nature and destiny, and when every soul had a part to play in the grand tapestry of life. Michael listened intently, absorbing not only the wisdom of her words, but also the quiet strength that radiated from her being. In that shared moment of vulnerability and trust, an unspoken bond was forged between the two, a bond that transcended language, culture, and circumstance. It was a bond built on the mutual understanding that in a world rife with cruelty and injustice, kindness was the most powerful form of rebellion. As the days bled into one another, their journey became a mosaic of trials and triumphs, a relentless pursuit of freedom in the face of overwhelming odds. They navigated treacherous terrain, evaded patrols, and even found brief solace in abandoned hideouts that bore the scars of past conflicts. Each night, as they huddled together for warmth in the cold embrace of the wilderness, Michael marveled at Lena's resilience and resourcefulness. Her intimate knowledge of the land was like a secret map, guiding them through the labyrinth of nature's challenges. And though every step was fraught with danger, every moment was also imbued with the exhilarating promise of escape and rebirth. The escape, however, was only the beginning of a far more complex journey, a journey that would test their mettle, challenge their perceptions, and ultimately force them to confront the demons of their past. The local authorities, now alerted to the disappearance of a foreign traveler, began to mobilize their investigations a web of suspicion and bureaucratic inertia. Rumors spread through the nearby villages like wildfire, each whispered word and furtive glance adding to the tapestry of intrigue that surrounded Michael's abduction. Yet, amidst the growing storm of uncertainty and fear, Michael and Lena remained steadfast. Their path, though fraught with peril, was lit by the unwavering conviction that they had been given a second chance, a chance to rewrite the narrative of their lives and to reclaim the freedom that had been stolen from them. As they continued their trek through rugged landscapes and treacherous backroads, the bond between Michael and Lena deepened. Their conversations, often held in hushed tones under the veil of twilight, ranged from the mundane details of everyday life to the profound revelations of lost dreams and shattered hopes. Michael spoke of his childhood adventures, the longing for connection that had driven him to explore distant lands, and the quiet moments of introspection that had defined his journey thus far. Lena, in turn, recounted the history of her village, the struggles against oppressive forces, the legends of heroes who had risen from the ashes of despair, and the enduring spirit of a people who had weathered countless storms. In the tapestry of their shared stories, each found solace and strength, a mutual understanding that transcended the immediate dangers of their present circumstances. One crisp morning, as the sun's golden rays began to filter through the dense canopy of the forest, Michael and Lena stumbled upon a narrow path that wound its way toward a distant settlement. The path, though hidden from the main thoroughfares, was well trodden by those who knew the secrets of the land. It was a path that promised both salvation and confrontation, a final, decisive step toward freedom, or so they hoped. With cautious optimism, they followed the winding trail, the rustle of dry leaves beneath their feet marking each measured step forward. The sounds of civilization were faint, like a distant murmur carried on the breeze, yet each sound was a reminder that their journey was nearing a critical juncture, a point where the safety of anonymity would be replaced by the harsh glare of truth. Their progress, however, was not without its obstacles. The wilderness, though often a sanctuary, had its own set of challenges: treacherous river crossings, steep ascents, and sudden changes in weather that turned clear skies into tempestuous storms. At one point, as a torrential downpour transformed the narrow path into a slippery, treacherous mire, Michael and Lena found themselves clinging to each other for support. The rain pounded the earth with relentless fury, and the roar of the torrents was punctuated by the occasional flash of lightning that illuminated the darkened sky. Yet, even in the midst of nature's fury, the determination in their eyes burned bright. It was as if the very elements conspired with them, challenging their resolve and testing the strength of their bond. In the heart of that storm, when the world was reduced to a blur of rain and darkness, Michael experienced a moment of profound clarity. He realized that his journey was about more than just escape. It was about reclaiming his identity, rediscovering the parts of himself that had been buried under layers of fear and resignation. Lena's unwavering faith in the possibility of freedom became a beacon of hope, a guiding light that illuminated the path ahead. Together, they pressed on, their spirits unbroken even as the tempest raged around them. Each step they took was a testament to their resilience, a declaration that no force, however formidable, could extinguish the flame of human determination. After what felt like an eternity battling through the storm, the clouds finally began to break, revealing patches of a bright, clear sky overhead. The rain subsided, leaving behind a world washed clean and imbued with the fragile promise of a new beginning. As Michael and Lena emerged from the shadow of the forest onto a sunlit clearing, the landscape before them transformed into a panorama of rolling hills, vibrant meadows, and distant, welcoming settlements. The sight was both humbling and inspiring, a reminder that even the darkest nights eventually give way to the brilliance of dawn. Yet, despite the newfound hope and the promise of safety, Michael could not shake the lingering shadows of his ordeal. Every moment of freedom was tinged with the memory of those long, harrowing days of captivity. The faces of his captors, the cold indifference in their eyes, and the eerie stillness of the abandoned structure haunted his thoughts. But as he glanced at Lena, her eyes reflecting both the warmth of compassion and the steely resolve of a survivor, he felt a surge of gratitude. In her, he had found not only a guide, but also a kindred spirit, someone who understood the unspoken language of pain and resilience. The journey to the settlement was a final test of their endurance. Navigating through narrow mountain passes and across windswept valleys, Michael and Lena encountered both the beauty and the brutality of nature. There were moments when the landscape seemed to mirror their inner turmoil, a tumult of jagged peaks and storm-lashed cliffs, of serene valleys that concealed hidden dangers. Yet, throughout every trial, Lena's quiet confidence and deep connection to the land served as an anchor, a reminder that no matter how far one might wander, the ties to one's roots and the bonds forged in adversity would always guide the way home. Finally, as the sun dipped low on the horizon and cast a warm glow over the distant settlement, Michael and Lena arrived at the threshold of civilization. The town, a mosaic of vibrant life and time-worn traditions, was a welcome reprieve from the isolation of the wilderness. Its narrow streets bustled with activity, and the friendly chatter of its inhabitants resonated like a comforting lullaby. Here, in this haven of humanity, Michael felt a sense of belonging that had eluded him for so long, a connection to a world that, despite its cruelty, was capable of boundless kindness and compassion. Yet, even as the town embraced them with open arms, Michael could not forget the dark forces that had once held him captive. The scars of his abduction were not merely physical. They were etched deep into his soul, a constant reminder of the fragility of trust and the ever-present shadows that lurked in the corners of human existence. Lena, too, bore the weight of a past filled with hardships and unspoken grief, a past that had shaped her into the resilient, resourceful person she had become. Together, they vowed that the horrors they had endured would not define them, that their future would be a tapestry woven with threads of hope, redemption, and the indomitable power of the human spirit. In the days that followed, Michael began to piece together the fragments of his shattered world. He met with local authorities, shared his harrowing tale with empathetic ears, and gradually reclaimed the life he had once known. The journey of recovery was not an easy one. It was a winding path fraught with setbacks, moments of doubt, and the lingering echoes of trauma. But with Lena by his side, a constant beacon of strength and kindness, he found the courage to face his demons and to rebuild the pieces of his identity that had been scattered in the darkness. Their story, whispered in quiet conversations in the town's bustling cafes and shared in the gentle hum of local gatherings, soon became a legend, a testament to the power of compassion and the resilience of the human heart. People spoke of Michael, the courageous traveler who had been robbed of his freedom only to rise again, and of Lena, the local girl whose quiet defiance and unyielding kindness had turned the tide of fate. Their journey was celebrated not as a tale of despair, but as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there exists a light strong enough to guide one home. As the seasons changed and the scars of the past slowly began to fade, Michael and Lena found solace in the simple pleasures of life. They explored the hidden gems of the region together, remote waterfalls that cascaded like silver threads through lush, verdant forests, ancient ruins that whispered secrets of civilizations long gone, and quiet, starlit nights where the universe seemed to stretch endlessly before them, a canvas of infinite possibility. With each new adventure, Michael rediscovered the beauty of life, the thrill of discovery, and the transformative power of shared experiences. Yet, the specter of his kidnapping was never far from his thoughts. In quiet moments of reflection, Michael would recall the terrifying uncertainty of those long days in captivity, the cold, indifferent eyes of his captors, and the crushing weight of isolation. But rather than succumbing to despair, he channeled those memories into a burning desire to ensure that no one else would have to endure such darkness. He began to work with local communities, advocating for justice and safety, sharing his experiences to raise awareness about the hidden dangers that often lurked beneath the surface of seemingly idyllic landscapes. His efforts, fueled by newfound purpose and the unwavering support of Lena, resonated deeply with those around him, and soon he became a symbol of hope and resilience, a living testament to the idea that even the most harrowing experiences can be transformed into a force for good. In time, Michael's tale spread far beyond the boundaries of the small town. It reached the ears of travelers, adventurers, and everyday people who found inspiration in his story. A story of survival against insurmountable odds, of the unexpected kindness that can emerge from the most unlikely of places, and of the enduring power of the human spirit to triumph over adversity. And as his journey continued to unfold, Michael realized that his life, once defined by fear and uncertainty, had become a mosaic of vibrant, interconnected moments, each one a tribute to the resilience that had carried him through the darkest of nights. Now, as I stand before you, dear listener, I invite you to reflect on the journey of Michael and Lena, a journey that reminds us that hope can be found even in the bleakest of circumstances, that compassion can bridge even the widest of divides, and that every soul, no matter how battered by life's trials, has the capacity to rise, to love, and to embrace the promise of a new dawn. Their story is a timeless reminder that while the shadows of our past may linger, the light of human kindness and courage will always guide us home, even through the stormiest nights and the wildest of adventures. So, let this tale be a beacon in your own life, a reminder that in every twist of fate, in every dark and uncertain moment, there lies the potential for unexpected salvation. For in the tapestry of life, where threads of joy and sorrow are woven together in intricate patterns, is our shared moments of courage, compassion, and resilience that ultimately define us. And as the echoes of Michael's harrowing escape and Lena's unwavering bravery continue to reverberate through the annals of time, may you always remember that even when the night seems endless, a single spark of hope can illuminate the path to freedom, redemption, and a future filled with boundless promise.